thrills us, it delights us, it stirs our hearts not only because of its poetic nature, but also because of the incredible hope that it inspires, the anticipation that we feel when we read and hear these prophetic words. Isaiah speaks in the future tense. This passage foretells that which is yet to come, and we who are still looking with longing eyes toward a future in which we can find this deep kind of peace and abiding love, find that our hearts are still deeply moved by this passage today, because we realize, with sighs too deep for words, this time foretold has not yet come into being. Yes, Jesus the Messiah has come. Yes, we anticipate Jesus being born into our hearts anew this year and each year at Christmas. Yes, we strive to carry that love and that hope with us in our hearts all year, to act on the Christmas story and its message of God's gift of love and light to the world all year long. But no, we do not yet live in a time in which, as Isaiah says, no one will any longer hurt or destroy on God's holy mountain. We do not yet. We see this, we feel this, we know this. All we have to do is turn on the news for a moment to know that this is so, or open a newspaper, or skim the internet. All we have to do is look at the gruesome images pouring forth from Aleppo in Syria, or read reports of Russia moving missiles into striking range of Berlin, or notice the ever-increasing number of racially toned hate crimes in our own nation, to know that this is so. I don't need to make a case to prove to you that we haven't yet ushered in the time foretold by Isaiah's prophecy. All of you already know that. We do not live in the peaceable kingdom foretold by Isaiah, and yet hope remains. Hope remains in that future tense of the text. Hope remains in the eyes of the prophet that remain fixed upon the future, upon that which is yet to be. And hope remains in us. And hope remains because a little child will lead them. A little child. We who read this with thousands of years of hindsight understand that the baby Jesus is the fulfillment of the ancient prophecy, born a poor baby in a manger, yet destined to lead all toward a reign of love and peace and kindness and justice. And yet we who look with longing eyes toward a future of peace that still has yet to be also recognize the need to continue living into this prophecy in a very real way. We must be the ones to help bring it to fulfillment. And although we who have the benefit of age and lived experience have much to offer, I think it isn't a mistake to look to the wisdom found in the hearts of children for inspiration, for guidance, and for leadership. At Advent, when we anticipate the coming of a child sent to change the world, we can look to the world-changing wisdom of the children all around us. What if we let their love lead us for a while? What if we let their lives inspire us this season? So on the cover of your order of worship, there are a variety of pictures there. 3 of those are of children whose wisdom can be instructive to us this morning. First is the picture of the 2 runners running together, the younger one leaning on the older one for support. The younger runner pictured here is Grace, a cross-country runner from Windham, Minnesota. She is a talented young runner who had qualified for state meets as a 7th grader. But the picture was taken this year when she was an 8th grader, running to try to qualify for the state level of competition once again. But as the race unfolded, something was wrong. Gracie's legs felt heavy and her chest was tight. Frustrated with herself and her body, she just kept pushing herself harder and harder, but her body simply would not cooperate, and Gracie collapsed on the course, falling face first. She got up and she collapsed again and again. She was struggling, crawling, collapsing, staggering, and the race officials were shouting to the other runners, "Don't touch her. You cannot touch her. You can't help her." Those race officials were correct. The Minnesota State High School League rules state that one runner helping another in any way means both will be disqualified. But Leanna, a Mountain Lake High School senior, approaching the finish line, had seen enough. She went over to Gracie, pulled her to her feet, and supported the younger runner's weight as the two crossed the finish line together. "You're with me, I've got you," she kept telling the younger girl. It turned out that after the race, when Gracie went to the hospital, that she had mononucleosis, which explained why her body was giving out as she tried to run. Leanna was disqualified from the race for her act of kindness, but the high school senior said that didn't matter to her, "Because I know I will always remember this moment," she said. Grace and Leanna offer us a glimpse of what God's reign of peace and love might look like, might be like, at Advent and always. Would it look like if we allowed the wisdom of our children to lead us? So in the center of the order of worship is a picture of a young black boy hugging a white police officer with tears streaming down the boy's face. The boy is 12-year-old Devontae Hart. The police officer is Portland, Oregon Police Sergeant Brett Barnum. The image was captured by a freelance photographer during a peaceful demonstration in Portland a few years ago. Devontae's moms, Sarah and Jennifer, shared the story behind this powerful photographer in their own words after it came out. They wrote, "We hit the streets with the intention of spreading love and kindness, and to remind all people that they matter in this world. I noticed that Devontae was struggling, tears. He wouldn't speak. He was inconsolable. My son has a heart of gold, compassion beyond anything I've ever experienced, yet struggles with living fearlessly when it comes to the police and people that don't understand the complexity of racism that is prevalent in our society. It was one of the most emotionally charged experiences I've had as a mother." He trembled, holding a free hug sign as he bravely stood alone in front of the police barricade. Tears were rushing from his eyes and soaking his sweater. He gazed upon them, not knowing how they would react. After a while, one of the officers approached him and extended his hand. Their interaction was uncomfortable at first. There were generic questions about his favorite subject and what he liked to do in the summer, but the one that mattered hit straight to the heart. He asked Devontae why he was crying. His response about his concerns regarding the level of police brutality towards young black kids was met with an unexpected and seemingly authentic to Devontae. "Yes, I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry." The officer then asked if he could have one of his free hugs. And of course, Devontae, as the photographer captured, put his arms around the officer and held on tightly. Devontae and Sergeant Barnum offer us a glimpse of what God's reign of peace and love might look like, might be like. At Advent and always, what would it be like if we allowed the wisdom of our children to lead us? And finally, on the right side of your order of worship is a picture that might be familiar to anyone who's been in the greater Boston area for several years. It's a picture of 8-year-old Martin Richard holding a poster he had made in school that proclaims, "No more hurting people, peace." This picture became famous, as did Martin's words, after the 8-year-old was killed in the bombing of the Boston Marathon in 2013. The picture quickly made the rounds in the media and online, a poignant testament to the hoped-for world that Isaiah proclaims in the face of horror and ugliness and violence that had unfolded in Boston. Martin Richard's sign, in his child's writing, forever frozen in time, is the prophecy. It is both a fervent hope and plea, and that which is proclaimed by the prophet. No more hurting people, peace. They shall not hurt or destroy on all my holy mountain, and a little child will lead them. No more hurting people, peace. That's the prophecy, that's the call, that's our instruction. That's the partnership into which we are invited with God. And at Advent and always, a little child will lead us. Will we follow? Amen.